a local resident of Moncton who decided to take on a a problem. We'll talk about whether it's a serious problem or not here in Moncton. It's called Street Angels Moncton, and she is looking to kind of reach out to the people in the sex trade industry here in Moncton. So Amanda, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dennis.
So give us an idea of what this is all about. What is Street Angels Moncton?
It's an outreach just to kind of go out there on the street. There's a few of us who go now and just kind of provide needs, ask what they need, ask what the girl needs, be their friend essentially to, make a connection, and, after being out for a while and build some consistencies that they'll know that there's someone there, whether that be for a, safety purpose, just to meet a need, or, what have you. Long term, I would love to see a house for them where they can go and just kind of learn how to live again. So yeah.
So that's really interesting. So the whole purpose here is that you're just going out there and offering friendship.
Yes.
A connection.
Yes, they really don't have those. Most of them are numb. I have a close relationship with a handful of the girls here. I've known a few of them for 9 years, and they are numb in life, in what they do. They try not to be. They try to act like they're not, but they really are. And they don't have friends. They don't have real friends who are going to be there unconditionally, who don't have motivations, and just to kind of be there and answer the phone or just listen to a rough day, a rough call,
things
what
we
have
take
you.
for granted.
That's right.
Right?
That's
you get
right.
home from a hard
Something
day at work,
simple.
and you have mom or dad or husband, wife, or somebody that can kind of just bounce stuff off of.
And their occupation hazards are much different than what we know.
Absolutely. You just dropped a couple of numbers there. A handful of people that you're close to. 9 years of this.
Yeah.
How big is this problem? How big is the sex trade industry in Moncton?
Much bigger than what we're aware.
I would imagine.
Often some of us have a conception that, it's like the movies, that they're going to stand out, we're going to know who they are. It's not like that at all. Your average worker you've probably seen her walking down the street, or him. There are guys as well, and they don't all dress in the mini skirts and the high heels and the cliche that we all have in our head. So you'd be surprised, especially when you walk down the St. George area and around the back streets there, how many are really working, and online is also huge. It's
growing
actually
industry, I'm sure, right?
Much. It's actually bigger because it's not as out there, and you can kind of be a bit more picky, and with your customers and such. So yeah, it's a large problem, much more than what most people are aware of.
I mean, I think you bring up a good point too, because I think most Moncton residents know the St. George area or around those areas, right? Yeah, sure. And you're right. I probably drive around that area, several times a week. Yeah. Yeah. And I can't really say that I've noticed.
That's right.
Either I'm not looking, or it's not as obvious as, you say, that the movies make it out to be.
That's correct. That's correct.
So, I mean, what drives women? If this is a big problem in Moncton, well, where is this problem coming from? Why are there so many women turning to this?
There are so many reasons. Money is huge. It is, I don't want to say easy money, but that's what they will call it, is easy money. Any of the girls who I talk to, they to go out and get a job and get paid minimum wage when they go out for a few hours and make the same thing that we do in a day. It becomes a habit, a bad habit. However, the root to most of them across the board is some sort of abuse or neglect. May that be from childhood or relationships growing up, not fitting in. I know a couple of the girls who find their worth in what they do because they were bullied and they were just never accepted. So there's various reasons, but among the top reasons is money, abuse, and of course addiction. Addiction comes either before or after, and it's a very large problem.
And I'm sure that addiction leads to money problems. It just ends up being a vicious circle.
It's a vicious
right?
circle.
So hard to get out of.
It really is, yeah.
I mean, short of solving a prostitution problem, is there anything we can do as a community specifically for these people? What can we do as average citizens to help these people out?
Don't ignore them. That's huge. I'm big on whoever I see, I'll walk by and smile and say hi. That's just my personality. Awareness is huge. I don't know what we can do to help them as a community, as a large community, short of what we're doing, kind of stepping out and meeting their needs. I do work with the YWCA as well, try to get these girls some resources. We do have a larger vision, but as a community, it's really a matter of being aware and knowing that it's out there. And if we have someone in our life who is a victim of abuse or who is teetering on going out into that life or is stuck in addiction, to not turn away and pretend it doesn't exist, to be aware and educate yourself a bit, and reach out and find out what you can do personally for whoever is in your life at that point. So it's really all about awareness and reach out, right? I'm out there every Friday. You're welcome to come see me, right? If you want to be a part.
I mean, that's a good point too, because I don't know, maybe it's my opinion. To me, it seems that a lot of people are kind of closing out, kind of closing in just within their own little bubbles, within their own little world more and more. And it's sometimes hard to stand up even when you do see victims of abuse. It would be of any kind, even if it's bullying, verbal abuse at a very young age. It's sometimes still difficult for people to stand up and acknowledge and say, no, that's wrong. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you feel like, obviously there are community groups out there that are trying to help these people. Yes. Obviously the YWCA is a great organization. Is there enough out there? Do you feel like maybe not the community, maybe on the government levels, should there be more? Should there be more awareness? Do you feel like...
Definitely, and there is not enough. There's housing, but it's very low capacity, and it's in the new stages as well, right? So organizations do what they can, but there's not enough done. Even if I'm not aware with like government funding and all of that, but something to offer these girls a way, or guys again, to offer, make it a little easier for them to get on their feet. I don't know what that would look like really, but there's not enough for them right now. Quite often there's mental health issues, and there's such a long waiting list for a lot of them. There's so many different things that if we could do, and kind of just make a small change here and there, that would just make the process easier. Counseling. It's really hard to get available counseling for these girls. The waiting list is huge. It's huge unless you want to pay for it,
Of course.
And they might have money, but not for that.
Yeah,
Let's be
exactly.
real, right? That's not what they're out there making money for.
Yeah.
So that's we really need more resources.
It's a bit of a taboo subject. Nobody really wants to address it. But at the same time, it has its roots in other issues like mental health and victim abuse and things like that. So it seems like to tackle this one problem, you almost have to tackle all these other problems.
That's right.
Let's specifically talk about what you do. You go out there on the streets. Is it hard for you to win their trust, especially when you first started this? To show up there and be, hey, I'm just here to give you guys a hand.
Yeah. I've been doing it at a low scale for a few years, really. And when I say low scale, it hasn't even been an intentional thing. It just happened naturally because where I work for a drop-in center and a shelter. And so that's how I met these girls years ago originally. So it just kind of happened to just kind of go out and walk with them and hang out. It's, you know, something that I've always done. But recently, it's actually been, they've been really welcoming. I don't think I've had one negative experience, even with the ones who I don't know. But again, I know a couple of the girls who have been out there for a while who kind of put my name out there and said she's, you know, she's good people, right? Like you can trust her and things like that. So that helps. It's been hugely helpful to have a couple of the girls who are out there working who know me, and it doesn't. I'm not uncomfortable out there at all. It doesn't take me out of any comfort zone just because that's. I understand where they're from, right? I was an addict myself for 15 years, so I get the culture and I get their hurt. So it's kind of just a night out with the girls. I just got to look around for them, right? So,
Right.
And we just give them treats, water, condoms, anything they need, coffee, Tim carts, you know, anything that they might need for shampoos, conditioners, razors, any kind of toiletries. Really, right now, it's just to kind of ask them what they need, and then the next week we'll show up with what they needed. And sometimes we don't find the same girls, sometimes it's different girls, but they're always needing something too, so. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, listen, less than a minute left.
Yeah.
If people want to help out, what's the best way for them to find you?
Facebook.
I think we have it up
Street
there.
Angels
yeah.
Moncton. That's
Oh,
the
no,
best
ours.
spot
The
to
other
find
Facebook,
me.
maybe? Do we have the other Facebook graphic
There
there
we go. Yes.
Excellent. So search for Street Angels Moncton on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah,
Reach
and
out to you that way.
That's correct. You can send me a message. I'm Amanda Gilliat Newman on Facebook. That's how a lot of people have reached out. I have received a lot of support so far. I'm all shampooed up.
Yeah.
Conditioner I have received. The donations have been phenomenal.
Well, listen,
Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much for coming. I
Yes.
think you're doing great work. Thank you very much. Keep
Thank
up the
you,
good work.